Welcome to THINKpod. My name is Francisco.
And I'm Aziz, and at ThinkPod, we speak about the smartest ideas and the biggest challenges facing the world right now. We speak about where we are, how we got here, and where we're going. Today's guest on ThinkPod is Ahmad Alhusseini, Chief Strategy Officer of Desert Technologies, a startup using disruptive tech to help Saudi Arabia reach its commitment for net zero carbon emissions. We talk about the Saudi Green Initiative, and we ask, as an emerging leader, what part do you see the youth playing in achieving sustainability in the future?
Can you give us a brief overview of Desert Technologies?
Sure. I recently joined Desert Technologies 3 months ago. Desert Technologies as a company is a privately owned company, a national company in the kingdom, founded in 2012. So it was probably the first mover when it came to manufacturing PV panels in the kingdom. And the story or the reason behind the establishment, this was a time where the Ministry of Energy, KCARE, and certain governmental and semi-governmental bodies initiated very high-level objectives for the kingdom on a macro level towards shifting our energy mix towards clean energy, which resulted into Desert Technologies becoming a pioneer in that spectrum. 10 years later, Desert Technology is thriving today. We want to believe that we're playing a pivotal role in, first and foremost, enhancing the value chain within the kingdom, becoming a proactive member along with our competitors, who at this juncture we truly see as our peers. When we're shaping a sector, the competitive aspect is always there, but we really want it to be a desirable sector, not just for national companies in the kingdom, but we want to invite our partners from abroad to come in and see this business environment that's both attractive, feasible, and impactful.
So at Desert Technologies, you guys started working on PV panels back in 2012 almost, right?
Yes.
And recently you've had a lot of initiatives that are kind of moving more towards sustainable energy. But what do you think took a while for us to kind of adopt that here in the kingdom? 2012 seems a bit too late compared to the rest of the world. Where do you think that happened?
So I'm going to answer this on two fronts. So I think we're blessed 2 times over. So the kingdom in past decades have been blessed with an amazing oil-driven economy that resulted into the leaders we see today, getting a great education, having amazing infrastructure within the kingdom. All these cross-border transactions we see between the kingdom and our neighboring countries, other countries, truly positioned the kingdom to become an international respected powerhouse within the international community. While we evolved into that position, I believe our leadership looked towards optimizing that energy mix and maneuvering towards a more optimal position that will truly position us, enable us to not adopt to what other countries are doing, but to lead it as well. This, of course, comes as a result for us being blessed again with an amazing geography that truly gives you an upper hand when it comes to clean energy, nonetheless solar. We have an empty quarter, so emphasize on the word empty, which I believe is not the case anymore. The kingdom, through the public and the private sector, are utilizing these areas to truly have impact on residential, private sector, infrastructure, powering them through clean energy and exporting energy. So usually when we hear exporting energy and within the kingdom, the cliche is we're exporting oil. But we know now for a fact we're exporting renewable energy, clean energy, and that's truly driving positive impact to other societies. And these are major strides made in the 10-year span since the industry truly established.
You only joined Desert Technologies in August 2021.
Yes.
How are you finding the position so far?
Well, at this point, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm still finding my ground. I've been blessed to have a great team at Desert Technology, an amazing board of directors that are truly focused towards making a positive impact, not just on the environment, but on the society. And the reason I was very intrigued and interested and humbled to join Desert Technology is they have a clear direction on positive impact that came through the form of ESG. So I'm a big advocate of ESG ever since my days at the Public Investment Fund, who shaped these ideals within me in PIF. And to have a company that I believe is an extension of what PIF is doing. That's how I like to look at it, that PIF put these attributes and enhance my certain skill sets. And 4.5 years later, I see myself maybe as an ambassador, an extension to them in the private sector in achieving our overarching goals from a macroeconomic standpoint, especially in the energy, renewable energy spectrum. At this point, at this juncture, we're revamping many aspects of the company. This comes as a result of the Kingdom issued its national renewable energy program and the Saudi Green Initiative, which was done very recently. And we're trying to position ourselves in a very specific segment that truly enables not Desert Technologies as a company, but elevates the sector as a whole, which in result, inshallah, will elevate the Kingdom within the renewable sector program.
So you talked about the Saudi Green Initiative, right, which recently took place. In there, the country committed to having net zero emissions by 2060.
Yeah.
The Minister of Energy, His Royal Highness Abdulaziz bin Salman, also announced that we need a tech revolution to achieve that, right? What role do you see Desert Technologies playing in achieving that or contributing to that noble goal?
I think we need to answer the call of His Royal Highness Prince Abdulaziz bin Salman, who has been a pioneer and a leader in this sector for serving the energy sector for over 30 years. He led the adoption of the initial energy mix and the energy mix today. And who would have thought a Saudi Green Initiative in the Kingdom with promises of net zero carbon in 2060. When we talk about technology revolution, the beauty of smart infrastructure and renewables as a whole, the tech component is the main variable in the equation. So the Kingdom and especially the private sector needs to make the proper maneuvers towards R&D, strategic partnerships, bring in certain technologies, localize it, and lead it afterwards as a local product within the Kingdom. We talk about clean energy, so the human element and putting these products in rural destinations, such as sub-Saharan and villages in Africa. The whole point of it, it's a plug-and-play aspect. So the tech aspect has to be easy, has to be sustainable, and you don't want your people coming in and out every 6 months for installations, for maintenance. You really want to have a sustainable long-term impact to the people there and start plugging in other elements other than maintenance, such as Wi-Fi, internet, which will serve the healthcare sector, education, and all done within a container product, for example, which is put into a village to give them electricity. So I think when we talk about the tech revolution, we need to look at other sectors. And this is where I believe the collaboration will occur between the healthcare sector, the education sector, telecommunications, so the ICT sector as a whole, and globalization within the sector will be in full effect for the renewable sector itself.
Can you unpack Desert Technologies' role in this 2060 commitment?
Sure. So Desert Technologies as a company works on all verticals within the value chain of renewable energy. So you have development, you have EPC, and you have manufacturing. So I think it's on us as a company, driven by our board, driven by our executive management, to truly adapt and maneuver towards becoming an optimal body for the government to achieve its goals. And what we mean by that is we have the verticals in place. There are only few players in the private sector, and all of which are powerhouses. And I think we need to complement each other towards achieving that long-term goal. If that means more resources towards manufacturing, by all means, we have the capabilities to maneuver around that. If that means bringing in the right partners to enhance our EPC verticals, by all means, we'll do that as well. So at this point, and going back to my initial answer, I think it's less about competitiveness between us and the private sector, and it's more about shaping the renewable spectrum within the Kingdom and optimize on how to elevate the Kingdom as a whole rather than the Desert Technologies or any of our competitors at this point. So we try to look at it from a more macro perspective.
Beautiful. So we talked about 2060 right now, but Vision 2030 is happening much sooner than that.
Yes.
Right. His Royal Highness launched this ambitious vision for 2030. Where do you see Desert Technology playing a role in there, and what do you hope to achieve in the firm by 2030?
I'm going to speak on a couple of elements here before I give you a concrete answer. The beauty when you have a long-term goal is having a blueprint. And I'm going to talk about the governance aspect of having a macro milestone or initiatives done on multiple fronts. So Vision 2030 touches on all fronts of the government, touching the semi-government, touching the private sector. So I think having a proper governance framework truly enabled us as a private sector to know our role and how to adapt to it. So today, Desert Technology knows exactly the demand when it comes to the renewable sector for the next 8 years, which is exactly what we need to succeed. When it comes to the public sector, when it comes to the private sector, we know the demand as well when it comes to neighboring countries, because everybody is falling in line when it comes to transparency, sharing your vision, and I think this is a result of the change of the behavior when it comes to private sector investors as well. Big data is everywhere, but it's raw. But access to it is to everybody. So we have people in Ukraine knowing what Desert Technology is going to do 2 weeks from now, and vice versa. So I think we need to draw our game plan on how to truly position ourselves when it comes to the roadmap set by our leadership, and try to play a very positive role, and not just only achieving it, but showing that we could do much more after 2030.
You touched on PV panels being used in, or at least touching other tertiary industries, so healthcare, access to education through the internet. What can Desert Technologies, but also the Kingdom itself, do to reduce the gap between infrastructure in developing and undeveloped countries?
Well, I believe this is where the tech aspect comes in. So having been blessed with the right partners 8 years ago to bring in the technology, and today localizing it, and I'll speak on Desert Technologies briefly and probably go on a macro level, but today Desert Technologies has the capability of one of its products, the container product, which is a plug-and-play aspect. And the reason behind this product is to go to underdeveloped areas, countries that might not have any electricity, internet, education, and just have that element to come in without any human interaction. And we could monitor it from the Kingdom. So we could know exactly how it's performing, when to come in for certain repairs, installations. And this will be the main driver of other sectors as well. So the Kingdom, through the private sector and through the support and guidance of the public sector, bringing in these technologies 10 years back, will truly pioneer such products of high tech towards more underdeveloped countries within the region. This is where I believe initiatives such as the Saudi Green Initiative will act as the anchor in which the Kingdom promises to have a positive impact on the environment, not just locally, but truly become the voice of the region as well.
So Ahmed, you're an emerging leader, right? We're very excited about your future, the amazing work that you've done so far. And you talk about sustainability, you talk about green climate, green economy in the future. What part do you see the youth playing? You know, they're a vibrant part of the Vision 2030 as well, right? What part do you see, or what part do you encourage the youth to play in the future to achieve those lofty goals that we have?
I believe we have a big responsibility upon ourselves. We see more and more youthful, vibrant leaders in positions of power. So having a sense of responsibility of doing good and passing it forward is a big burden on one's shoulder. So we talk about ESG a lot, but to many people it might be a trendy word. But the embodiment of truly having a positive impact on your investments, on your business, it's a way of life to me personally when it comes to the business aspect. And you can't embody one or two letters without the other. So I think the youth today and moving forward will have to take very bold decisions and understand the repercussions or the rewards of such the decisions. So, and we need to learn from our predecessors as well. So I think passing it forward, remaining humble, and truly thinking of your fellow man moving forward.
Well, Ahmed, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate having you here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
We would love you to let others know about this podcast.
So please rate us, leave us a comment, and share with someone who might enjoy it too.
And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on our next episode.